Hi, you guys. I just want to address something. Now, this is at a time where two prominent black men are being put on trial for assaults against women. It is because I can see it from a different perspective. Just what is needed. My voice almost broke, but it's just what is needed to force. It's a tower moment in many women that gets the ball rolling on their healing. It is necessary. Things that they would take to their grave or would never reintroduce into their life at this time because they have whatever going on for them, not wanting to stir the pot or not wanting to talk to their blue in the face, trying to convince people that they have these wounds, they have these traumas, they have been taken advantage of. I had a conversation with a young girl a few nights ago, and she was saying that being a victim of trauma is what makes her strong. And in that same sentence, victim and strength was canceled out because victim means sacrifice, a person who is prey, who is a fool. And it negated the strength part. She said, I overcame it. I overcame it by being a victim. False. Once you have healed, you become a victor, which is conquering the trauma, conquering the people involved, persons involved, no matter who they may be, family, elders, people in the public eye, highly regarded and revered, praised by others. It doesn't matter who they are. What matters is that was necessary healing on your journey. To be a victim and a victor, you can't be both. You can't have conquered and still be the victim of. You understand? And I hope that this sparks the necessary conversations between families who have been passive, partners who have been unsupportive, but also shining light on men and women who have endured this type of trauma and not had anyone come to their rescue. That is the lesson, that no one is responsible for your safety and security. Not law enforcement, not parents, even though as a parent, we like to think that we can protect our kids from anything on this earth. And when things like that happen that are touchy subjects in some families, it gets thrown under the rug, whether it's an adolescent, a child, or a teenager, or a grown-ass woman. So many times it's thrown under the guise of status and wanting to keep everything hush-hush for the look of it, to not bring shame onto the family, as in some cultures. And it's fucking sad. So hopefully that this brings a lot of shit up, because so many women are walking around traumatized and victimized and having these insecurity issues, and it has nothing to do with the way that they look or the way that they dress or what they earn. It is a self-worth and value thing at a time when they were vulnerable. They were in a state of becoming victims. And that's not a lesson that you get straight away. You don't understand that this is what is going to make me strap up my boots and get it done regardless. Like, no one sees it as a point of strength. Everyone sees a woman or a man going through a situation like this as being weak and being a victim, because at the time they were unable to protect themselves. And the lesson was more so about security, and feeling safe in oneself, because what you exude from the inside exudes outwardly. And it isn't any victor that can be taken advantage of. You understand? Is not someone who is secure within themselves, that is preyed upon by family and friends in everyday situations, being too nice and having been around quote unquote narcissists. Now they're the givers and they're the nicest people you'll ever meet, but they're in a victim mentality and being taken advantage of by people in their everyday environment who lean on them for that, who ask for money, ask for support, ask for help, ask for this, ask for that. And that person who has been in that traumatic situation would give the shirt off their back because they would want it to be done for them, not realizing that these people are put on your path not to do that. They're supposed to trigger those very feelings within you where you don't feel secure, where you don't feel appreciated, where you don't feel supported. That's exactly what it was geared for, if you look at it from a spiritual sense and not a worldly, physical 3D sense. I have compassion and I can help those who are going through it. But when people hear my point of view from an expanded viewpoint, they tend to think that I'm uncaring or not being sympathetic to what they've gone through, not realizing I was one of them. At one time, I was a victim for years, well into my 20s. And every relationship I got into was a reflection of that. Not being trusting, feeling that whatever was missing within me could be provided by someone else. Safety and security and feeling safe, not in a home, not being protected physically outside of myself, but internally. Because a part of me had been, quote unquote, sacrificed or preyed on by someone who was older than me, stronger than me, who introduced something to me that I knew nothing about, and took that choice, not took the choice away from me. I did not stand up in that moment. I did not feel that I could. I didn't realize it was a choice of mine. I didn't ask it to happen, but I allowed it to happen. But that was necessary for who I am now. To have accepted an apology that never came, to have shown light on it, all of that ugly truth in order to heal. I'm the type of person that has to heal on my own, or I talk myself to my solution by retracing my steps into the problem. They're both created at the same time, equal and opposite. And that's just my stance. That's just what I do. I know death in more ways than one. And to say that I died a few times, I damn sure did. The part of me that was holding on to that didn't make me feel safe or secure. So what use did it bring me? I had to dig into that. What was this useful for? This didn't happen to me, it happened for me. What was it teaching me? What was it giving me that I didn't already have? That's my stance. That's where I stand. That's why I'm a victor. No longer being taken advantage of by people in my environment who are feeding off of my energy and my kindness. No longer am I pacifying others. No longer am I seeking security and safety outside of myself. No longer am I asking anyone to approve or disapprove of my decisions, my point of view, my opinion, my feelings. No one on this earth is put here to validate me or to make me feel safe or to make me feel accepted. No one. No one. I promise. promise. You can be trapped in your mind if you'd like. It's an ugly place. You've created it. This jail, this prison, the maze, the labyrinth, the abyss of it. But only you know how to get out. Only you, because you designed the pattern of how it reoccurs over and over and over. Whenever you deal with someone or in a situation, it reminds you of that emotion. It reminds you of that trauma. It reminds you of that time. And you keep going back to it. If it's not healed, you remember. And each time it gets more and more distorted. Because it's only as present, it's only as current as the last time you thought of it. It isn't that present moment. It's not that same situation. But therefore you pull bits and pieces that stuck out to you the most, and you relive them every single time. That adds another layer to your trauma. How the mind that you perceived it from when it happened and the mind that you have developed now are two different minds. And you're adding more stuff to it, thinking about how it could have gone differently, who that person is as a person, and the feelings attached to all of that. They flow and they distort and they change and they grind and they mend and they bend. And I'm telling you, it has to be brought up and put in your face, clear as day. You can go to another woman's aid who has gone through this because you've healed differently in a different way. You have an understanding, an insider view, an insider scoop on that particular type of trauma. You are in a position to assist others, allowing them to come to the realization that they were not at fault. Forgiveness starts with them for whatever blame they've placed on themselves because of what outside influences say. Oh, you were too fast, or over-sexualized, or you're big for your age, or you're developing quickly, or whatever. Oh, he's just a man, or stop over-exaggerating. Whatever the fuck that they tried to put on top of it to make it not a big deal. That's what you confront now. You start with self. Anything that you picked up along the way, those seeds that were planted by other people, this is where you pluck. You extract those roots. You use your sword. You use your spade. You use your hoe. You use whatever. And you extract that shit from the root, man. Now you see the root cause, not just the surface shit. All situations are different, but they have a commonality in this type of wounding. You get to the bottom of it, and you can better heal and aid the situation and others. You know, we're coming into a time where this will be less likely to happen to our daughters and our nieces and our, sisters, because of the awareness. The awareness. Bring awareness to it. Shine light on this shit. So anyone else who feels that they can do such a thing will see the light very quickly. You understand? Very quickly. Like, no one knew when I was a kid that I was being molested. No one. No one. My brother didn't know. I mean, his friends attempted to, but there were people right in our own home, or, brought right into my environment that were predators. And they saw me as prey. For whatever reason, I didn't feel safe. I didn't feel secure. Maybe it was us moving around and stuff. And I'm not trying to justify why it was okay. It's not okay. I'm not saying it's okay. What I'm saying is, that's a necessary step I had to get through on my personal journey. Not every woman has to go through this. But the ones that do have a commonality, we are tied intrinsically, like collectively. Women all over the fucking world. All over the fucking world. It can be Bill, and it can be Robert on the stand and all that shit. But it's more to it than that. Because across cultures, you have women who are going through this and no one bats an eye. They don't care. Stay in a woman's place and all that other jargon. But this is exactly what is needed to shake some shit up. And I'm glad for it. Now you're about to see a whole new breed of woman emerge from that meek, timid, superficial, and what have you. Everyone's trying to hide their scars. Everyone. That's what it's about. It's not about trying to keep up with the current fashions and stuff. When I see women put on makeup, they're doing makeup that is exaggerated, like drag style makeup, and it's to, in every culture and every different era had this. The powder on the face, even the geishas, and you know what I'm saying. That was a thing. That was a culture. That was a part of a culture to sell your virginity to the highest bidder. To, you know what I mean, until value started to be put on the woman. You know what I mean? And then now she has a choice. She has free will. What is your living will? What are you willing yourself to do? Be a victim until you're no longer here? When do you become a victor?